$5 billion in debt. Smart meters that customers claim are overcharging them. $1 billion nuclear disaster. Failed energy projects that went nowhere. Heat pump programs that became contractor gold mines. And ratepayers stuck with the bill for all of it. This is NB Power, New Brunswick's crown corporation that's supposed to serve the public. But what if I told you it's actually operating more like a Ponzi scheme, where new debt pays for old mistakes, and customers keep paying more while the problems get worse? Today we're going deep. We're not just talking about the $5 billion debt. We're exposing how they got there, who benefited, who got screwed, and why this might be the biggest financial scandal in New Brunswick history that nobody's properly investigating. Buckle up. This is going to make you angry. Let's start with something nobody at NB Power wants you to understand: the fundamental structure of how they operate. The classic Ponzi pattern. NB Power sees no issues with bills, but can't explain anecdotal evidence of unusually high electricity consumption. But here's the real issue. They're borrowing money to pay for past mistakes, raising rates to cover interest on old debt, and deferring problems into the future. Sound familiar? Here's how it works. 1. Project goes over budget. NB Power borrows money. 2. Can't afford to repay. Borrow more money to cover interest. 3. Rates need to increase. Politicians block it for votes. 4. Debt grows larger. Need even bigger rate increases. 5. Finally raise rates. But it's still not enough to pay down debt. 6. Repeat the numbers. $5.3 billion in debt as of 2024, up from $4.8 billion in 2023. Debt-to-equity ratio stuck above 90%, legally supposed to be under 80%. $150+ million in annual interest payments alone. Every year, they pay interest and add more debt. This isn't a utility trying to break even. This is a debt spiral. The deferred account scam. The Point Lepreau refurbishment's non-capital expenses were expected to reach $989 million by the end of March, being deferred until the plant starts operating again. Let that sink in. They created deferral accounts to hide costs. They spent the money, but didn't put it on the books. This let them report profits while bleeding money. It's accounting trickery that would get a private company investigated, but because it's a crown corporation, they just get away with it. Interest on these deferred accounts? About $105 million and accumulating at $123,000 a day. Every single day. $123,000 in interest. Just piling up? Who pays for this? You do. If you want to understand how NB Power got into this mess, Point Lepreau is ground zero. The original plan. That was already controversial. 2005. NB Power awards contract to AECL for $1.4 billion. Timeline: 18 months, March 2008 to October 2009. Promise: cheaper, cleaner power for 25+ years. In 2002, the New Brunswick Energy and Utilities Board ruled that there is no significant economic advantage to the proposed refurbishment, and that it is not in the public interest. Read that again. The Independent Regulatory Board said, don't do it. NB Power did it anyway. What actually happened? A timeline of failure. 2008-2009. The problems begin. Delays prolonged the Point Lepreau nuclear station's refurbishment by 3 to 4 months, costing an extra $70 million to $90 million. And that was just the first delay. 2010. The Calandria tube catastrophe. 8 insurance companies refused to pay for damage to the reactor's outer shell, known as the Calandria, when it was improperly polished using coarse wire brushes during the refurbishment in 2009. Some genius decided to use coarse wire brushes on precision nuclear equipment. The polishing caused microscopic scratching, and all 380 tubes had to be removed and replaced. A setback that added 22 months to the project and hiked costs by hundreds of millions of dollars. The real cost. A memo for the Prime Minister's office suggests the cost could be as high as $3.3 billion, nearly $1 billion more than NB Power acknowledged. Let's break this down. Promised, $1.4 billion. NB Power admits, $2.4 billion. Federal documents suggest up to $3.3 billion. Overrun, potentially $1.9 billion. Who paid? You did. NB Power suggested its cost overruns could amount to more than $1.3 billion, about $300 million more than the provincial Crown Utility Company acknowledges. Delays were costing NB Power $33 million a month, $11 million in capital costs, and $22 million for replacement power and interest. The federal government refused to help New Brunswick, begged Ottawa for compensation. Prime Minister Stephen Harper has not budged, saying only that his government will abide by the terms of the contract to refurbish the reactor. Translation: you signed the contract, not our problem. And it still doesn't work. Right Point Le Pro is among North America's worst-performing nuclear power plants. As of March 31st this year, it has operated 194 days less than NB Power originally projected for its first 5 years, costing nearly $200 million in reduced production. So not only did the refurbishment cost billions more than planned, the plant still can't hit production targets. Unbelievable. Now let's talk about the controversy that has New Brunswickers furious right now. Smart meters. The promise. NB Power said smart meters would help you track your usage, reduce meter reading costs, enable time-of-use pricing, optional, modernize the grid. Sounds reasonable, right? The reality, bills skyrocketed. Real customer examples. One customer's NB Power bill said she used 3650 kWh compared to 1331 kWh during the same month in 2023. That's a 174% increase. Another customer's December and January power bills went from 2686 kWh to 7407 kWh, from 401.32 to a whopping $1,054.70. These aren't isolated cases. Thousands of New Brunswickers reported massive unexplained bill increases right after smart meter installation. NB Power's response: denial and deflection. A third-party assessment released Friday shows NB Power's systems are working properly, and there is no evidence that smart meters are over-reporting power consumption. Their explanation? Higher bills were driven by two main factors: higher rates and more power used during colder weather. But wait, customers compared bills to the same month the previous year. Same weather patterns, same house, same habits, yet bills doubled or tripled. The independent review was a joke. NB Power officials acknowledged they still can't explain anecdotal evidence of unusually high electricity consumption in some residential bills. Early indications from an audit looked at only 20 of the utility's new smart meters and 20 of its older meters. While the process has found no problems with the equipment, it's too small a sample for definitive conclusions. 20 meters out of 388,000. That's 0.005% of meters tested. And they call this thorough? The opt-out trap. Don't want a smart meter? No problem, except NB Power is proposing to manually read meters that have not been upgraded 6 times a year and charge those who opt out a special meter reading levy of $4.65 a month beginning next April. The number of New Brunswick households refusing smart meter installation has ballooned to an estimated 17,000, 10 times the rejection rate the utility told MLAs it was experiencing just last year. So when 17,000 households, almost 5% of customers, refuse the meters, what does NB Power do? Punish them with fees. Here's what they're not telling you. Smart meters can be programmed, they can be calibrated, and some customers recently blamed the meters for sudden increases in power bills this year, despite NB Power's denials. Ask yourself, if the meters are working perfectly, why did bills spike right after installation for so many people? Why can't NB Power explain the anomalies? And why are they so desperate to charge people who refuse them? Something doesn't add up. Let's talk about another program that sounds great on paper, but turned into a mess. Heat pump programs. The Enhanced Energy Savings Program controversy. In 2022, the government announced a new program. Free mini-split heat pumps to eligible households with income less than $70,000 a year using baseboard heaters. Great, right? Helping low-income families save money? The contract scandal. It turns out it's actually just a tweaked 2019 program that was originally awarded to one New Brunswick company. Without issuing a new request for proposals, the government announced the Enhanced Energy Savings Program, increasing the threshold to $70,000 and adding free heat pumps. Greenfoot automatically became the one-stop shop for assessments, equipment, and installation under the revised program. One company. No competitive bidding. $30 million in additional funding. Competitors were furious. Daniel Gogan, owner of Moncton-based Tradewines Eco Energy Solutions, said he and roughly 100 other heat pump installers will end up getting crumbs from the program, rather than an equitable share of the pie. The waitlist grows forever. According to NB Power CEO Lori Clark, it would require about $150 million to clear the existing waiting list of about 16,000 people. But here's the kicker. The additional $30 million is on top of the $70 million already earmarked for the program over the last 2 years. So they've spent $100 million and still have 16,000 people waiting. It would take another $150 million to clear the list. Meanwhile, the regular rebate program failed. NB Power experimented for a year offering universal $500 rebates to homeowners who installed approved units on their own, but shut it down last fall after paying out nearly $7 million under the program, more than quadruple what it expected. They budgeted for one amount, spent 4x that, then canceled it. Here's the real issue. These programs sound great, but 1. They're chronically underfunded. 2. Waitlists grow for years. 3. Contracts go to select companies without competition. 4. When programs are open to everyone, costs balloon. 5. Ratepayers ultimately fund it through higher rates. It's chaos disguised as help. Let's talk about Belledune, the coal plant that refuses to die and keeps costing money. The problem: federal coal phase-out by 2030. Under the federal government's climate plan, coal-fired electricity generation must be phased out a decade before 2040 in 2030. Belledune cost $117 billion to build in 1993. It was designed to run until 2040, but now it has to close in 2030. The accounting trick that made it worse. Belledune opened in December 1993 at a final cost of $1.17 billion. That expense was to be depreciated over 35 years and was on schedule to be retired in 2028 until the utility suddenly changed course in 2016. In 2016, CEO Gayetan Thomas made a controversial decision. The change at Belledune and a similar one made at Colson Cove instantly saved NB Power $19.8 million per year in finance charges. In the 2016 fiscal year, the accounting maneuver suddenly turned what was going to be an $8 million loss at the utility into a profit. So instead of paying off Belledune's debt by 2028, they pushed it to 2040. Why does this matter? Because if the plant closes in 2030, NB Power is stuck with massive unpaid debt. At the time of the accounting change, NB Power still had $440 million tied up in Belledune. Instead of eliminating that by 2028, the new plan was to shave the amount down to $200 million by 2028 and use the following dozen years to retire the rest. Critics warned, this was stupid. US-based utility expert Robert Connect argued that slowing down depreciation at both Belledune and Colson Cove was a poor idea given federal government plans to phase out coal. EUB board member Michael Costello was baffled by the move. Extending the life of a coal-fired facility, does it just not strike you as kind of odd in this day and age with what we are heading into? But they did it anyway, to make the books look better. For 1 year. Failed conversion projects. So how do they plan to keep Belledune running past 2030? Option 1. Joy Scientific Hydrogen Project. NB Power is betting $7 million on a promising but untested new way to generate electricity without emitting greenhouse gases, turning seawater from the Bay of Chaleur into energy. A Florida company with unproven technology. $7 million bet. Status? The company is continuing to do testing. The pandemic has delayed some of that, but they're still pursuing options with respect to their technology and testing in other locations. Translation: it didn't work. Option 2. Maritime Iron Partnership. NB Power told Maritime Iron last week it would no longer be part of the $1.5 billion proposal, which would have seen the iron plant linked to the coal-powered Belledune plant. The potentially higher operating costs for the utility's Belledune generating station were unacceptable. Translation: would have cost too much. Abandoned. Option 3. Wood pellets. Current plan. NB Power's Brad Cody says burning wood at Belledune is beating all potential alternative solutions. Once fully converted, Belledune will consume around 300,000 to 500,000 tons of black pellets per year. However, black pellets are currently not produced at a commercial scale in Canada. So the solution requires an entire new industry that doesn't exist yet. Wood pellet manufacturers require financial support to convert facilities. To convert to black pellet production, pellet facilities will need to invest about $30 million each. The pattern you should notice. Every solution at Belledune. 1. Sounds promising initially. 2. Requires massive investment. 3. Involves unproven technology or non-existent industries. 4. Either fails or hasn't been implemented. 5. Meanwhile, the clock keeps ticking to 2030. And who pays for all these failed experiments? You do. Alright, let's name names and assign blame, because this didn't happen by accident. The Sean Graham Liberals, 2006-2010. Crimes against ratepayers. 1. Greenlit Point LaPro, without proper oversight. Ignored Energy and Utilities Board warnings. No meaningful risk assessment. Signed contract with insufficient penalties for delays. 2. Botched Hydro-Quebec sale. Could have eliminated most of NB Power's debt. Communicated it terribly. Let political pressure kill the deal. Left NB Power in worse shape. 3. Rate freezes for political points. Blocked necessary rate increases. Forced NB Power to borrow more money. Kicked problems down the road. Verdict: set the stage for disaster. The David Allward PCs, 2010-2014. Crimes against ratepayers. 1. Point LaPro. Cost overruns. Spiraled. No accountability for AECL. Delays kept mounting. Costs kept climbing. Did nothing to control the bleeding. 2. Continued political interference. More rate suppression. More deferred costs. More borrowing. Verdict: inherited a disaster, made it worse. The Brian Gallant Liberals, 2014-2018. Crimes against ratepayers. 1. More rate freezes. 2. Abandoned federal compensation fight. Campaigned to press Ottawa for compensation, but declined to answer questions later. Verdict: talk big, do nothing, debt keeps growing. The Blaine Higgs PCs, 2018-2024. Crimes against ratepayers. 1. The Belledune accounting scandal. Happened under his energy minister. Extended depreciation to 2040, knowing coal must end in 2030. 2. Smart meter rollout disaster. Rushed implementation. Inadequate testing. Dismissive of customer complaints. Threatening fees for those who opt out. 3. Heat pump program mismanagement. No competitive bidding on expansions. Waitlists growing. Chronic underfunding. 4. Finally, raised rates. But not enough. 9.25% increases for 2 years, 4.75% after that. Still not enough to reduce debt. Even with rate increases equal to around 13% this year, the Crown Corporation is making no progress toward lowering debt. Verdict: some progress, still terrible. The executives, NB Power CEOs and leadership. 1. Gaetan Thomas, 2012-2016. Created the accounting schemes, made a controversial decision to slow down the plant's debt repayment, made short-term books look good at long-term expense. 2. Current leadership. Can't explain billing anomalies, poor project management across multiple initiatives, lack of transparency. Verdict: shielded from consequences, making millions while customers suffer. The federal government. Crimes against New Brunswick. 1. AECL's Point LaPro failure. Federal Crown Corp bungled the job, refused to compensate NB for their mistakes, stuck taxpayers with the bill. 2. Coal phase-out without transition support, mandated 2030 deadline, offered minimal financial support, left provinces scrambling. Verdict: caused problems, refused to help fix them. The real villains: the system itself. Here's the truth nobody wants to admit. Crown corporations like NB Power operate in a governance vacuum. Not accountable to shareholders, not fully accountable to voters, can hide behind commercial confidentiality. Executives paid like private sector face no consequences for failure. Politicians interfere constantly, but dodge responsibility. It's the worst of both worlds. Let's be clear about something. NB Power isn't literally a Ponzi scheme, but the financial structure has disturbing similarities. Classic Ponzi scheme: promise returns to early investors, pay those returns with money from new investors. Unsustainable, eventually collapses. Insiders profit, public gets hurt. NB Power's model: promise low rates to current customers, pay for current operations by borrowing new investors, bond buyers. Use rate increases to cover interest, not principal. Defer costs indefinitely into the future. Insiders, contractors, consultants, executives. Profit. Ratepayers get stuck with mounting debt. Eventually, what? Collapse? Privatization? Massive rate shock? The warning signs: 1. Debt growing, not shrinking. Up from 4.8B to 5.3B in 1 year. Interest alone is 150 mil plus annually. Even with rate increases, debt-to-equity ratio stuck above 90%. 2. Deferred costs. Hidden from view. Hundreds of millions in deferral accounts. Interest accumulating at $123,000 day. Not on income statements. Or invisible to public. 3. New projects to fix old problems. Every solution requires massive new borrowing. Nothing gets fully paid off. Kick the can down the road. 4. No path to sustainability. Even NB Power's own projections show ongoing deficits. Rate increases aren't keeping pace with debt growth. System is fundamentally broken. What happens when Ponzi schemes collapse? Well, in a real Ponzi scheme, it collapses when you run out of new investors. For NB Power, they can't run out of investors because bond markets will keep lending at higher interest rates. Provincial government guarantees the debt. Customers are forced to pay whatever rates are set, so it doesn't collapse. It just gets progressively more expensive for you while the debt grows forever. So what's the solution? Because complaining without offering solutions is pointless. Immediate actions needed. 1. Full forensic audit. Independent Auditor General investigation. Every dollar spent on Point Le Pro, Belledune, smart meters, all deferred accounts made public, executive compensation tied to actual performance. Criminal investigation if warranted for accounting practices. 2. Smart meter investigation. Independent testing of statistically significant sample. Third-party verification not controlled by NB Power. Full transparency on billing algorithms. Immediate suspension of opt-out fees. Compensation for customers overcharged. 3. End political interference. Rate increases must be set by independent regulator. Only. No political vetoes. Long-term planning over election cycles. Binding debt reduction targets with consequences for missing them. 4. Restructure governance. Board of directors with actual utility expertise, not political appointments. CEO compensation tied to debt reduction, not profit manipulation. Quarterly public reporting on all financial metrics. No more deferral accounts hiding costs. 5. Face reality on major assets. Point Le Pro. Either sell to Ontario Power Generation, discussions ongoing, or admit it's a failed investment and plan managed shutdown. Stop throwing good money after bad Belledune. Make realistic decision on biomass conversion by end of 2025. If not viable, plan shutdown and worker transition support. Stop funding fantasy projects with ratepayer money. Long-term options, all painful. Option A, massive rate increases. 15 to 20% per year for 5+ years. Debt reduction becomes #1 priority. Low-income support programs expanded significantly. Industrial rates increased proportionally. Option B, provincial debt. Takeover. province assumes NB Power's debt onto provincial books. NB Power operates debt-free going forward. Rates stabilize, but provincial taxes increase, basically shifting who pays, not reducing the burden. Option C. Partial privatization. Sell generation assets. Keep transmission, distribution public. Use proceeds to pay down debt. Maintain rate regulation. Risk loss of public control. Option D. Full privatization. Sell entire utility to private operator. Strict regulatory oversight remains. Most politically toxic option. Historical evidence shows mixed results. Option E. Regional consolidation. Merge with Nova Scotia Power, Maritime Electric. Create Maritime Power Corporation. Economies of scale. Shared infrastructure costs. Political complexity extremely high. The honest truth, there is no painless solution. Every option involves either much higher electricity rates, higher provincial taxes, loss of public ownership, some combination of all three. The question isn't, how do we fix this without pain? The question is, who pays for the decades of mismanagement, and how much? What you can do. 1. Demand accountability. Contact your MLA. Attend Energy and Utilities Board hearings. Submit formal complaints if your smart meter bill is suspicious. Vote based on energy policy, not just slogans. 2. Track your usage. Document your electricity consumption. Compare year over year with same months. If bills spike after smart meter install, file complaints. Join class action if one emerges. 3. Spread awareness. Share this information. Talk about it. Don't let them hide behind jargon and complexity. 4. Prepare for higher costs. Energy efficiency upgrades now. Heat pumps if you can afford them. Better insulation. Reduce consumption where possible. Because make no mistake, rates are going up. A lot. The only question is how much and how fast. Let's bring this full circle. NB Power's $5 billion debt crisis isn't an accident. It's the result of politicians prioritizing votes over fiscal responsibility, executives making short-term decisions with long-term consequences, massive project failures with zero accountability, an accounting shell game hiding the true costs, a governance structure that protects the powerful and screws the public. Point LePro, $2.4 billion overrun, possibly 3.3 B. Belledune, hundreds of millions in failed conversion attempts, smart meters, thousands of customers reporting massive bill increases, heat pumps, wait lists in the thousands, no end in sight, and through it all, the debt keeps growing. $4.8 billion to $5.3 billion in 1 year. This is your money, your rates, your future. And here's what makes me angriest. Nobody has faced consequences. The executives who made terrible decisions, they got bonuses. The politicians who blocked necessary changes, they moved on to other jobs. The contractors who overcharged and underdelivered, they got paid in full. Who stuck with the bill? You are. So what do? We demand better. We demand transparency. We demand accountability. And we recognize that fixing this will require painful choices that politicians don't want to make and executives don't want to face. But the alternative, continuing this debt spiral, is worse. Because eventually, whether through bankruptcy, privatization, or rate shock, this system will collapse. The only question is whether we fix it on our terms or wait until we have no choice. I know which one I'd prefer. What about you? Thanks for watching this deep dive into NB Power's debt crisis. This is the longest video I've made, but this story deserved the full treatment. If you found this valuable, hit that like button. Subscribe for more investigative content. Share this with every New Brunswicker you know. Drop a comment. Have you experienced smart meter bill increases? What solution do you think is best? Am I missing something important? And if you work at NB Power or in government and want to blow the whistle on something, my contact info is in the description. Confidentiality guaranteed. This conversation needs to continue because they're counting on us not paying attention. Let's prove them wrong. See you in the next one.